Hi, y'all. Welcome to the Knit+Sip podcast.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
I'm Kate, and we're going to be talking about staying motivated through projects today, especially if they're long, and just different things that we do to keep going and try to turn whips into finished objects.
Yeah.
All right, so tell us about what you've been working on.
I've been working on a lot, but also I feel like not a lot at the same time. I feel like I've kind of gone into more of like the chill, but also like I'm also excited for spring, so I'm just like thinking about what I want to make. But I did finish a cloud sweater in unspun yarn
That's so nice.
and a strand of fingering weight wool, and then I finished a sweater for my sister that she asked me to make, and a hat because I had leftover yarn.
Was this the cotton merino and cashmere one?
No, that one was the last one. This one is it was a merino and cashmere blend.
Okay, nice.
So it's like a dark gray V-neck, saddle shoulder.
Okay.
Nice. Or it's more like a satin contiguous. But yeah, and then I had leftover, so I made her a brioche hat, which is it's the Olay hat by Suzanne Mueller. It's actually half fisherman rig, but it's really cute. I like it. I want to make myself one, but
I've seen it. I haven't made it, but it is cute.
It's a good pattern. Yeah. And what else?
I think I need to look up the actual definition of half fisherman's rib versus brioche, because I feel like sometimes they're used interchangeably, sometimes they're not. Yeah. I know they're actually two different things, but I don't know. I really do see them used interchangeably, and it gets confusing.
For sure. Well, I've done both now, and they're definitely different.
I'm sure that
they're definitely different, because one row you're doing brioche, and then the other row you're doing one by one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
interesting.
Yeah,
but I do feel like sometimes I almost see them because I'm like, wait, no, that
especially on social media.
Yes, I do. So I'm like, I feel like we maybe need to put out there. So you just told us, if you're all wanting to know the actual difference between them, they are different. And I do think people accidentally use them interchangeably.
And a lot of people will knit half fisherman's rib inside out. So you brioche knit instead of brioche purl.
Okay.
Because you're like, you'd be either purling. It's like technically purling two together. Or knitting two together for the brioche, knitting and purling. So yeah.
Good tip.
Yeah.
I like it.
But yeah. Continuing my year of socks. I'm wearing my February socks right now.
Ooh, nice.
But that's a Sorella sock set.
I like that one.
It's based off of
Contrast heel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was it came with that.
Nice.
It's a 2x2 rib. Okay. But I've also figured out that I need to knit my heels way longer.
Oh.
So I've been knitting them way too short, and I have really high gusset apparently, because you can see it like stretches the stitches.
Yeah, I do. Okay.
So I'm on the gusset of my March socks right now, and I knitted the heel, I think, 40 rows instead of like 28.
Oh, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Gotcha. What does the pattern call for? Or are you just like vanilla sock?
Vanilla sock, heel flap, and gusset.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
what's the March sock out of?
It is an Olivia and Oliver Fibers, just like 100-gram sock skein that I got off of a D-stash.
Nice.
But it's green and pink, and then I'm also using a contrast color from my Advent from Christmas.
That's a good March.
It's like a magenta color.
Ooh, that's a good March one. I like that. Yeah, good March colors.
Yeah,
for sure.
But yeah, I think that's really it. I'm also working. Besides, I'm working on a test knit for.
Oh yeah, that's
Le Garcon / Max the Knitter. And it's called the 1983 sweater. I finished all of the 3-color work.
A long time before we were born.
Yeah. Definitely for me.
Definitely for me too.
And yeah, I finished all the 3-color work. I have a little chunk of 2x2 color work, or 2-color stranded color work. And then I have to split for the sleeves. But I'm trying to finish that before we go to Europe, because I want Drew to wear it, because we're going to a yarn festival in Edinburgh.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh my gosh.
I want to finish it before we go. So
he'll look amazing. What are you going to wear?
Probably my, the bottom up color work, like cream, pink, and yellow one.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. I'm like here on my second sleeve. I have one sleeve attached.
So you steeked?
Yeah, I steeked both the armholes, and then I seamed it. And there's like, when you knit the sleeve, you like keep knitting and reverse stockinette for a facing to cover up the steek stitches.
That's really interesting.
And then you whip stitch it on the inside.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
I'm trying to picture that.
Yeah, I will definitely. But yeah, that's honestly pretty much it.
Nice.
Yeah. It's kind of a lot, but also not.
So are you taking any knits to Europe, or are you just going to wait and see what you get there and start something fun?
I'll probably bring a sock.
Mm.
TBD on the needle situation, though, because I use Magic Loop, and I don't know how long the tips are, but I know you can't have above a certain length of, like, sharp object, because they'll take it away.
I have not really
Especially
been
stopped.
It's
metal.
I was going to say, with the wood. So you might just do a wood for a minute.
Then maybe it's not worth it, because I don't want to knit socks on wood needles.
Yeah.
I might bring like a tee, like something in fingering weight, so it's going to take me a while, because I'm going to have the flight there, and then the flight to Barcelona, and then the flight back.
So speaking of tees, can I tell you, I'm throwing myself majorly under the bus here, but I found a whip that I didn't know existed.
I saw that you said
I did. I posted it on Instagram, and I had a friend reach out, and she said, I've made, dozens of sweaters. Maybe not dozens, but a lot of sweaters. And I've never made a tee. What are your favorite tee patterns? And I said, oh yeah, I've got some of those. And so I sent her, a couple that I've done. And then I sent her one that I had saved in a bundle. And I started thinking, I really feel like I maybe did that. And
You're like, where'd that go?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't finish it.
I did. I was like, well, I was like, did I just imagine it and like pick out, because it came to me that I was like, no, I knew what yarn I wanted to use too, and then it like all started coming back to me. I really worry about myself sometimes, and I found it in a crochet bag in that one right over there. So I crocheted a bag for the store,
because that's been there
since it has. It's called the Dumpling Bag by Knit Collage. It's a great crochet bag, but I apparently at some point, because before it was a store sample, I really did use that bag. I carried it around. Evidently, I was using it as a project bag. So I put my tea in there, and it's been hanging in that bag for 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
So this is, I guess it would be,
Is it bottom up?
So this is this has to be the bottom, the ribbing, I'm sure. So I think I'm just knitting down the front, maybe. I don't even know. I'll have to catch back up with the pattern. I put a lifeline in there. But it is the Flutter butt shirt.
Oh, yes. Yes, by Jessie Maed.
By Jessie Maed. And there's matching shorts. And I remember that I wanted to do it in the Chelsea Yarns Gemini collection for because Gemini, I'm a Gemini. So I wanted to do that. And the other funny thing, though, is that I was sitting there because my friend bought yarn for it the other day, and she started it. And I'm sitting there going, can you explain to me why I'm holding a mohair with it? It doesn't call for that. So if you're actually trying to knit this shirt, it definitely does not call for a mohair. I have no idea what my gauge is. I hope it's not. I'm sure it's going to be fine. I think it's a bit oversized anyway, but
Yeah.
So if y'all have an idea of what you call a knit that you did not, it's not hibernating, because I did not intentionally put it to rest.
Forgotten.
No, I just completely, it was forgotten.
Gone,
So hopefully at some point I'm going to finish that. Yeah.
Nice.
I know there are a few projects I have hibernating for sure.
Oh, yeah. Same.
Mostly I either ran out of yarn, or it was like starting to get to be spring, and it was like a heavier weight with the mohair, and I was like, oh, I can't. It's starting to be hot and stuff. Yeah. So I put them down. We'll see if, so there's like maybe 3 that I have actually hibernating. That one was like on the island of Misfit Toys. I don't know.
Yeah.
But now I'm kind of motivated to finish it because I like the colors, and I think it will be nice for spring and summer, and I liked the pattern, and I have a friend working on it. So getting into the how to stay motivated on projects, I definitely think having a knit along, or even just having a friend who's working with you, or someone even on social media or something, who you can follow along their progress, or message them or something about a knit helps a lot, because it just either seeing their progress, and then like they compete. Like I love it when like customers at the store will almost like compete, like, oh, well, she texted me and she's here now, so now I'm really like gonna finish this. So that's fun. But so that's a good, one of my my thoughts on doing something is now that my friend Sierra is working on this, I'm like, all right, so she's going to probably be bringing this to our Friday night knit nights, stitch nights, and I'll be maybe picking that up and working a little bit with her on that.
Yeah.
So. Other things I've been working on. So I have the capital V, and I love my capital V. I don't know if I should stand up. If we can even see it.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
I will stand back here. So I have the microphone, which is a little distracting, but I love the capital V. So I am not as good as you about socks. They're not my jam. And so I feel like this could potentially be my new sock. It's either fingering plus lace or it's a DK on a size 8. So it works up really fast. I did it in about 36 hours.
Nice. Yeah.
So, and I maybe spent more time than I should have knitting on it. But I mean, I think give yourself a good couple of days to a week, depending on the size you're making. And I think it's very doable. So this might be my new socks. I think I want to have one of these always. So I actually got yarn for another one today. That's kind of a bubblegum pink. I know that's a big color this year. So it's going to be a bubblegum pink with a little bit of a softer mohair to tone it down just a little bit. And I feel like it's going to look, I love pink with jeans. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, I'm wearing, this is all not old. It's from like last spring, I think. This is the Somme cardigan by Cookie the Knitter. It's just like an all over little V lace leafish.
Is it pine cone stitch or what is it?
It's just like yarn overs and central double decreases.
I didn't know if there was a specific name for it.
No, that's not what, there's not one in the pattern. This pattern, it was fairly easy. I definitely knitted up pretty quickly.
I remember. It flew.
The only problem I had was when I was doing, I can't remember if it was the short rows for the back as well, but the sleeves, I can't do a central double decrease from the wrong side to save my life.
Okay.
And this pattern, it calls for you to do that for the lace repeat on the sleeves, because there's a little bit of short rows. I think there's like a like one lace repeat with the short rows. But yeah, you can't really tell because it's mohair, or it's actually, sorry, this is LBA, Kumo, and Felix. But yeah, it's really cute and it's really soft. So yeah.
So we were talking about the other day, not you, me, but Lisa, about how people were asking at the store, how does mohair knit up with something versus a suri? And our friend Beth made up a drawing. We could put a picture up, and I was going to do a little short with it too, where suri kind of is like up front and it's like, hey, I'm here. And then like the mohair, like the little goat's kind of, hiding in the back seat. And the mohair really takes a bit of a back seat to the yarn. It like marls it, but it marls it subtly, I would say.
Like this, you can tell.
That is like,
it's just like fluff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the color, were you to do it and not the matching color, the color is right out front. So we've actually knit up some swatches that, again, I'm going to do a short with coming up, and you'll see the incredible difference. So it's like the same base yarn and then a really similar color mohair from Knitting for Olive with that one, because you gave me the scrap yarn from this one to do the other swatch for the Vesari alpaca, and it's just stunning, the difference. So look out for that coming up.
Yeah.
So other things I've been working on, and one of the motivations for the discussion of how to stay motivated through knits is that the store just finished a knit along of the Robin sweater. Yeah, bat wings. So hold it out. There's the sleeves.
Yeah.
Yep, it's a bat wing sweater. So we chose it. It is. Yeah. So here again, it's a Felix, an LBA Felix, and LBA Kumo in Flora Morganite. So it's the same yarn, color yarn with its matching suri, and it's beautiful. And I will say, had I not done this out of a yarn that I absolutely loved the color and the feel of, I really don't know if I could have gotten through it. Everyone was pretty much struggling with this one. I think I've talked about before how the mock neck version had a few kind of issues with the pattern.
Mm-hmm.
The V-neck version really didn't, but boy, to do the increases on this V-neck, and you ended up with, so I think the V-neck version, I did the smallest size, which gosh, I'm glad I did.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
It's pretty big. I love it. I wouldn't change it, but I would not want it any bigger. So you end up with about 412 stitches when you start decreasing, because the interesting thing about it is you go all the way out to here and then you just knit down. So you're just knitting for length. And then you end up picking up to do the sleeves, like just right here, but 3/4 of your sleeve is done by the time you're done with the width, which is actually good because it keeps you off sleeve island. That's can be a tough one to overcome. But at the same time, you've got an enormous number of stitches that you're decreasing from at that point. And so really and truly, even though this was a knit along, and that definitely was some motivation, I think the biggest motivation with this was just the yarn. I absolutely love this color. I love it with jeans. I love it with, I have like a gray skirt I've worn it with. Love that. Black pants, you know, anything. And it's I do feel like it's a great length. So if you're considering doing this sweater, it is a little bit, it comes down low. So I feel like I could even nicely wear it with leggings, which is good since it's oversized. So this was a tough one to stay motivated through. Honestly, it really was. Like, you know, lace weight with a mohair or suri, and it's a whole lot of stitches even for the smallest size. So the very opposite of that is that coming up, and I know a few of you guys want to do the salty days with us, so I think I reached out in the comments and just said email me. So I'll make sure to post my email in the description, and just email me and I can email y'all a Zoom or something link, and you can join in on our Friday night. That's when we usually do our knit along. So the exact opposite of the Robin sweater is the Salty Days by Veronica Lindberg. Obviously, I'm getting ready to start the second sleeve, but I finished this and the first sleeve in about, it will be 2 weeks tomorrow, 2 weeks ago tomorrow that I started it. So it has flown. And yes, chart C. So if anyone's read about that, oh yeah, chart C, it's not great. I definitely did not make it through that unscathed. I learned a valuable lesson that you definitely don't do lace work in a car with children in the back seat. Nice. So don't do that. But it was also still because chart C was not explained in a way that my brain understood it. So there was a pretty key piece of information for anyone who's super literal like I am that was missing. And luckily, so this is where another tip, if you want to stay motivated, is, you know, participate in a knit along, because you have people you can ask questions to. And so, you know, whether you post them to our YouTube channel, Instagram, or like, you know, we just like will see each other in the store on Fridays, text us, whatever, is that, you know, I had someone who, you know, her brain clearly works differently than mine, and she was able to say, oh no, this is how you do it. And then I got back on track. But then honestly, on the sleeve, I got off track again. I don't know how. I don't care. I fudged it. It's a sleeve. I'm going to live with it. So getting stuck on sleeve island, though, is that something that you struggle with? I sometimes.
I'm more of a body island gal. I cannot, like, unless it's textured, like, I cannot finish a stockinette body. I mean, I can, but, like, I will, like, probably, it's usually when I just get in the round, if I'm doing a drop shoulder or a raglan right after I split for sleeves, I'll do it. I'll knit in the round for the body until I finish my ball, and then I'll do the sleeves, because I cannot like the amount of stitches for that long. Yeah, like it just keeps going and going and going, and like I have to put stitch markers so I see my progress, or I will not finish it. Sleeves I'm fine with, but. So is that how decreases. You stay
motivated with the body, is like you put markers so you see your progress, you do the sleeves first, or what are some other tricks?
If I get really desperate, I will start, like, I'll figure out how much length I want, and then I'll count the rows that I have, and then I'll, like, put a counter and then decrease.
That's always how I do it.
I never do that. I usually just go until I feel like the length, but counting down usually will help if I'm, like, really desperate.
Yeah, I do that for most. I mean, not like to start off with, but once I get a certain, you know, ways into the body, I'll do the math, which I don't do math, but I manage that one. Okay. Right. So I do that and figure it out, and then always do your row counter. So it helps me. And you do that with sleeves anyway, because you want them the exact same length. So you want to make sure you do the exact same amount of rows. So, you know, that's already done with sleeves, but with the body, I'll do that anyway, because that is, I guess, how I stay motivated.
Yeah, the sleeves, I find the decreases help me keep going. Because it just keeps,
unless you're like, I'm about to hit another one.
Even like the steeped one I'm doing right now, it's bottom up, so the sleeves are also bottom up. Like, I feel like the increases don't really bother me that much, like, with the increasing amount of stitches, because it's still such a small circumference, that it just keeps me going. I'm like, oh, I can just do it the next time.
Yeah, you're like, I'm almost there to this next set of instructions. Yeah. I will say sometimes I get a little bit of a mental block about, like, for example, okay, I've done one sleeve on this and I'm like, wow, this is great. But then even just the mental block of like, oh, now not that picking up stitches does not bother me, but it's more just the fact of like, it just feels more monumental. The fact that like, I don't even have a needle on this right now and I have to go just like
it could be finished. Like but it's not.
It's just not. Like it could be, or it could
there's
be.
no needles on it.
It could be in progress, right? Like, and that's where I feel like sometimes the mental block hits me, where I'm like, oh, if it was just in progress, I feel like I could just pick up and knit it. But at this point, it's like, it feels like starting, you know, something where it's like, oh, I'm more than 2/3 done. And I'm kind of in that same place with the cardigan I'm making for my daughter.
It's cute.
Thank you. I will tell you something about this cardigan, though, if you guys ever decide to make it. I'll put it in a bundle on Ravelry so you know what it is. It's a great pattern. However, the button band was done in a way I had never done it before. It's a good way to do it. I like the way it looks, but I changed this pattern in that I'm using a worsted instead of a DK weight. So I went down a needle size. I also feel like children's patterns sometimes are sized. I don't love the way that they're sized, because I feel like the difference between a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old is real. And this is in fast fashion too, right? You've got like 8 to 10. Like an 8-year-old does not look like a 10-year-old, right? So like that's a big old gap. And so when like knitwear designers, are like 8 to 10, I'm like, ooh, okay. And this one may even just be 8 to 9, but I'm also like, I have a 7 going on 8-year-old. She's small. Anyway, so I've kind of done a few modifications to this pattern to try to make it fit her, the right way so that she'll wear it both this year and next. But with the button band, you actually cast on and then you attach it and you pick up a stitch as you go, knit it together, pick it. Yeah. And so, which is fine. But because I was making adjustments to the pattern, I ended up picking up like fewer stitches. And if you guys do this pattern, it is a great pattern, but they really mean 1-to-1. Like, they're not joking. So, like, when I did this, it definitely comes up a little bit because I did not pick up 1-to-1. I think I picked up 4 out of 5. It's blocked.
Okay, I was going to say, it looks blocked.
Because I had to decide, when I did it, it was so bad that I had to decide if I could actually live with it. And I blocked it before I did the sleeves. But here again, it's like, that almost is like, oh, it's blocked. And then there's
it could just be like a vest.
Could it be a vest? I did. Yeah. So I think when something's not already on the needle, like I think I don't get into Sleeve Island when I'm working on the sleeve, but I think just like, I don't know, for some reason I have this weird barrier about just like, oh, now I have to pick up. And it's not that picking up bothers me. It's literally just the act of like, oh, I could be starting a whole new project and I just have to pick up to sleeve. So one of the ways I do try to get myself past that, although clearly I'm not, winning a ton, but it is my goal. So you're just setting goals for yourself too. I mean, I have been trying to do like a 1-off, 1-on this year. So instead of just like picking something up and being like, I really want to start this, I'm like, no, I have to finish just one, get it off. And those don't include hibernating. Those are just hibernating. They'll be fine. I don't know where this other one that is on the island of Misfit Knits is going to come in, but it's, I'll pick that up somewhere. But I sometimes will actually, and so like once I get, obviously I'm closer to getting salty days off the needles than I am my daughter's cardigan, just because I'm like down to 1 sleeve instead of 2, even though hers will be less knitting. But I will actually just like start something new so that I can be into a raglan. And then I'll be like, oh, okay, maybe I need a break from the raglan, and then the sleeve isn't so much of a mental hurdle.
Once you get to like the end of the increase and you're like, every row is like So many stitches.
So many stitches. Exactly. So then it's like when that one needs a timeout, then it's like the sleeve looks pretty darn good when you're, you know, getting through the increases of a raglan and you're dealing, or to the body or something, and you're like, so then the sleeve's like, oh no, I think I really want to go do a sleeve now. So as weird as that may sound, that it motivates me to start another project, like it's not even the idea of doing it, it's the fact that I'll get to a point in that project where it doesn't seem as bad as you know, the idea for whatever reason for me. If anyone has that problem, let me know how you get past it as far as even just getting the needles on there to pick up for the sleeve.
Oh yeah.
So do you have lots of projects that are hibernating?
Not really anymore because so originally, like I have this spreadsheet that I keep track of all my stuff.
Oh, good.
Now because I like being able to edit it all at once and not have to like go into a page and then press edit and then like choose something and press save. So in my Excel spreadsheet, I have everything that I've started, and then I highlight everything green that I've finished. So my and I highlighted red if I frogged it. But so my first whip is that bottom up steeked. One that you're close. Almost done.
Yeah, you're close.
So I picked that up recently and I was like, I just need to finish it. So that, and then I have another bottom up steak colorwork sweater that might end up going to Drew because it's going to be massive because my gauge is so bad. Either that or I might make it a pillow.
Your gauge is big.
My gauge is technically small.
Okay, right, got it.
It's huge. It's not supposed to be as big as it is. Because this was before I knew that my gauge was loose. Okay. And I'm using a sport. I think the pattern, it's one of those Norwegian skiing sweaters. So it's like it doesn't actually say like what yarn weight it uses, and you can kind of just like mess it up. You can like fudge it if you want. Okay. So
maybe
if you maybe not, apparently not, but I wasn't sure. I think it was a sport, but also the sport I'm using is kind of like really lofty, and I was using 4mm needles. So. Anyway, that one is definitely hibernating. Haven't touched that, I think, since August. And then I like preemptively cast off my Advent blanket that I was tired of knitting.
Okay. So. Well, that's good.
Yeah, which is why I'm using it for socks. I'm using it as conscious colors in socks now, so it's fine. But yeah, that's like really it. And then like the only other oldest whip is like a single sock that I haven't done the other sock for.
So how do you plan out like all your projects as far as an order of importance, like what you're gonna do?
It just depends on how I'm feeling.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just like what I'm excited for, like, or most excited to have at that point. Like that single sock, the first sock was like kind of a mess up, but it like still works. The cuff is just too wide. So I'm like, do I make the second one and just make it like different so it actually fits me and just have one like not working sock, or do I frog it and redo both of them? It's like, so, but it just depends because a lot of the stuff I'm working on are still active whips. So it's just like whatever I'm feeling and whatever's easiest to grab in the moment, or like if I'm going to go watch Drew play soccer, or like go to the movies, or sit in the car. So it just depends.
Okay, well that's good. So it doesn't sound like you have too much of a problem finishing things, really.
Not really, no.
I wouldn't really.
It's not an issue for me, I don't think.
That's good. So, I'm sure it is for a lot of people. So definitely let us know if you want further
I'm definitely
tips
the
and discussion.
anomaly in that situation.
I wouldn't say I have a lot of trouble finishing things. I mean, my 3 hibernating projects are 2 because it got really warm, and I was like, oh, I cannot work with a Surrey.
Off season.
Yeah, it got really off season, and I was like, oh, this is not even fun to have in my lap. And then the other one, I ran out of yarn for it, got the yarn back in for it, and then like the second it came into the store, I had a customer who was like, I want that yarn, and I was like, well, clearly I'm going to sell that instead of finishing my own sweater. So at this point, it's honestly just a matter of me like actually getting more yarn to finish. So I don't normally say I have trouble finishing things, but there are definitely mental hurdles for me, like I said, the sleeves and just different things like that. And then also I think I almost feel like sometimes I don't love working on something that I know maybe I absolutely, so like if I'm designing something like when like a beginner knit for the store or something, that I definitely have to throw that into the middle of something else because, I don't always, that can be a little bit frustrating designing something because you might rip out or change something. And, that's a very different process than just sitting down and following directions.
Right, yeah.
So that's a one too where it really like that has to come in the middle of something I enjoy. I'm also really enjoying doing. And then I'm like, okay, I want to get this done so I can go back to that.
Yeah.
So, but let us know if you guys have trouble finishing things and what tips that you guys have. I know a lot of people were participating in Finish It February. And then I have a friend who got sick and couldn't do that. And so she's trying to do Make It Up March, which I think that's kind of clever too. So I guess just setting aside and setting some goals for yourself about when you're going to finish those things and really determining that you're not going to do something else until you get those done. Set aside that 1 month where you're like, I don't think I have anything planned for that month. And then, deciding on that. The other thing I found recently, so I have another friend who just got her stash organized. I know that can be really motivating because then you realize what you actually have. I think I've said this before, I really don't have much of a stash. I have like leftover yarn from projects, but I don't have much of an actual stash. But then the other thing that I was doing lately that kind of made me motivated, because sometimes another reason I might get stuck on sleeves is I'm like, oh, I only have like one small circumference needle in that size. And so just like I sell these at the store, and I kind of bought myself a Valentine's present and got these little cases where now I've really kind of gone through everything, like all the bags I have and everything, and like made sure all of my kind of loose needles, so I have needle sets, those were already organized, but then like any kind of loose needles that I've had over time, and put like a lot of my tools in these nice cases. And I think just being organized with that and saying, oh, actually I do have an extra set of this, so I can use this for this while I'm doing something else, has helped a lot. So just being organized, like your spreadsheet.
Yeah. I also have this like, I think it's meant for toiletries, maybe. I'm not actually sure because like the size of it is kind of weird. It's very small. Like you couldn't fit very like 3D things in it. But it's like a trifold, like it's a Vera Bradley trifold thing with little like straps that you wrap. One's longer, the other is wrapped around, and you tie a little bow. And it's like this long, and like when it's folded up, it's like this wide, and then you unfold it, and it's like a roll of whatever. And it has 3 little slots, and the middle one has 2 separate slots. And I put like for my Chaogu needles, I put the small cables in the left one, and then the big cables in the white one or right one. And then the top one, I put all my fixed circulars, like my sock needles and all that. And then the bottom one, I put all of my barber cords and I have a little stitch marker case that I put in there too. And like my measuring tape and my scissors. But yeah, that's how I stay organized. But
I think just like even having tools that you appreciate too. So like having, just nice little things, like you got that for Christmas.
Yeah, I asked for my brother, like specifically. I was like, I saw an ad for it on Instagram. I was like, that would be amazing.
So having
all my knitting stuff,
tools and like things to store your tools that inspire you. I know there's something else. I'll grab it because I think it's really funny. I have a couple of people have got this, and they call it their surgery toolkit. So their surgical toolkit.
Yeah.
So it's this.
That's kind of what my thing looks like.
So
my Vera Bradley thing.
This is Maed or Maed. I don't really know how you say it, but it's really nice. And so a couple of people have gotten this, and they feel really official when they unsnap it and open it up, and they're like, I'm rolling out my my surgical tools. So they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't bring my surgical tools today. I don't know what to do. So that one's a really nice one too. But just having, along with having yarn that motivates you to finish a project, just having all your tools together that motivates you, and having them in something that you're like, oh, I want to open that up and find what I need and stuff, is motivating for me too.
Yeah, so, I agree.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of it for us today, but we wanted to let you know that Sarah is going to be gone for a little bit.
Yeah.
Traveling and busy and doing fun things. All of the above. So I'm going to try to flood the channel with content, like some shorts and things. And so it will be a little bit different for a while until we're able to come back together, but we're still going to be putting out some content, and hopefully you can send us some updates from Europe, and I can maybe put something on the channel if you send me something that you like, things from your haul at the Edinburgh Festival and things like that. So we'll still be around, but just taking a little bit of a break from the format you guys are seeing now, and then coming back together in the summer. So
sounds good.
We'll be here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Cheers.